Well, hello again, everybody. Once again, thank you for joining MLA Move Language Ahead's second edition of MLA Kitchen. We're going to be starting here in just a few seconds. We want to thank you for all of our friends around the world who have decided to join us today for the second episode here of Kitchen. We're going to be sending it over to our friends in Ireland in just a few minutes. They're going to share a beautiful recipe with us for Irish oat and chocolate cookies. And so without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce you to Sarah Kiely, who was our guest chef today. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Carson. Hello, everyone.
Well, Sarah, I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know that you're highly involved there in Ireland with the city council and things. So tell us a little bit about who you are and how are you part of the MLA family?
Okay, so my name is Sarah and I'm here in Limerick City, which is in the Midwest in Southern Ireland. We're the third largest city in Ireland, and we're on the river and we have an estuary. So a lot of industry, lots of tourism. We have a beautiful castle here as well. I was a chef for 20 years until I was last year elected to Limerick City and County Council, which means I'm an elected representative of the city. So in this time for coronavirus and all this, I've turned back to my chef roots and decided to show people how to cook and maybe just make their day a bit interesting and share a new skill. So how I'm part of the MLA family is my daughter Emily worked for MLA last summer in Galway. So she was an activity leader last summer in Galway here in Ireland as well.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we have a large center there at the National University in Galway. So thanks so much for allowing us to have your daughter one of our activity leaders. It was a great summer there, and thanks for joining us. So without further ado, why don't you take it away and introduce your recipe and why Irish oat cookies? What is that important to you?
So oats have been a staple diet for lots of people in Europe and especially Nordic countries as well, and in Ireland. So oats have been one of the earliest grains to be cultivated by man, and it's easily grown, especially in these climates. And the Vikings and the Romans all used to have oats as their staple diet. In Scotland at one stage, up until about 300 years ago, oats was their main meal of the day. In Ireland, it was classed as well as an easy crop to grow, again because of the climate. And we have a famous company here in Ireland called Flavins, and they're in Kilmacthomas, County Waterford, and they cultivate some very high quality oats. Porridge, you probably know it as oatmeal. It's very nutritious, and that's why I've chosen this, because obviously it's nearly Easter time and we have lots of chocolate around. So it's a really balanced recipe, because you do have the butter, you do have the sugar and the chocolate, but you also have the very nutritious oats. And oats are a superfood in my opinion. They're full of iron and magnesium, and they are slow release food. So when you eat oats, the energy is released slowly throughout the day. So it is very nutritious, and you can just use it for lots of things. It's very versatile. So why the cookies? Again, very easy recipe. All the ingredients that are here on the recipe are easily attainable. We have butter, 250 grams of butter. So I'll start going through this. So I have my butter in the bowl, and I have it at room temperature, so it's soft. This is real butter, salted butter, not unsalted. So in Ireland, we rarely use unsalted butter. It's mainly salted butter we use in recipes. So I have this cubed here, 250 grams of butter on
Sarah,
my little plate.
Now might be a good time to tell people in the audience before they start to ask. Yes, of course, we will send the recipes out after today's episode. So Don't worry about trying to jot down all the notes, but the recipes will be coming your way after today's webinar.
Absolutely, yeah. Forgot to say that at the beginning, my rookie mistake. So the sugar you're going to need is soft brown sugar. So this is my sugar, and some castor sugar as well. So we have 100 grams of soft brown sugar and 50 grams of castor sugar that I've weighed out earlier on today. In this bowl, I have some self-raising flour, which is important. You can use plain flour if you like, but you are going to need to add baking powder to that. So I would recommend that you use self-raising flour. And the star of the show today, some of our oats. So these are rolled porridge oats, very easily got and used all over the world now, but have their origins here in this side of Europe. Some chocolate chips. So these are just normal chocolate chips that you would use for any kind of baking. And if you don't have chocolate chips, just chop up some chocolate. There's plenty of chocolate around at the moment. Now, an optional ingredient are nuts. I have walnuts here, so I have 100 grams of walnuts here. You can use pecans, you can use hazelnuts, you can use walnuts, whatever nut you like yourself, or you don't need to add nut at all, so it's completely up to you. So 100 grams of that. So
Sarah, we have a question from one of our viewers today. They're asking about the type of chocolate. Do you recommend milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
That's that it can be milk chocolate or dark chocolate. That's completely up to you. Obviously, dark chocolate is healthier because it has the cocoa solids. But milk chocolate is perfectly fine. I'm using milk chocolate today.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. So the first thing you're going to do with any recipe is you're going to weigh out your ingredients, and I would suggest that you have a clear surface in front of you, weigh your ingredients and have them laid out. So if you will not forget to put anything into the bowl if you have your ingredients weighed out before you start your recipe. The second thing I always do when I am baking is I will always turn on my oven. So you need to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. I don't know what the gas mark is, but the temperature of the oven will be 180 degrees Celsius, and your cookies will stay in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. It does depend on your oven. I would say check them after 10 minutes, have a look again after 12, and so on. So everyone's oven is different, so just keep an eye on your oven. Any more questions?
Let's see, we have one attendee with their hand up. Let's see, Ornella Marino. Let's see if there's a question there. Ornella, go ahead and unmute your microphone and you can join us live on the MLA Kitchen. Hi, Ornella. I think Ornella's maybe having some technical difficulties, so we'll come back to her. So yes,
Okay.
but that's a good advice for anybody that's watching us today. If you have any questions, you can raise your digital hand on the Zoom webinar feature, or you can type your questions into us on the chat, and we'll do our best to get through all the questions we have throughout today's cooking demonstration. Back to you, Sarah.
Great. So what I'd recommend as well is a big steel bowl. So for mixing, if you have an electric mixer, you can use an electric mixer. However, I like, for simple recipes like this, just to do things by hand. It's a great recipe as well to use with children. So get people involved, get the family around. If you have children, or if you older children or adults, get everyone involved. It's a lovely thing to do. And cooking is a life skill, and you need to impart that knowledge to your children. Help them to learn language skills, literacy skills, and numeracy skills by reading the recipe and by weighing the ingredients. So you're improving their skills straight away by helping them with this recipe. So that's my piece for today, my learning piece. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a wooden spoon and our bowl, and we're going to put our butter in. So the butter has been out for a while, so it's soft, because you need the butter to be soft. If you're going to take the butter out of the fridge just now, you won't be able to mix it. It will be too hard to mix. So to this bowl then we're going to add our sugar. So we have our butter and we're going to add both sugars in at this time. Now another tip is don't leave your brown sugar out too long, because it will clump together and it will be very difficult to mix. Now, so I'm just going to start this. Now you may need to put your hands in here. So.
And here's a reminder to all of our attendees that are asking on the webinar, we will send out the recipe with all of the measurements after today's webinar. So you'll get the complete recipe, including all the ingredients and all of the measurements following today's presentation.
So I'm just going in here with my hands. Make sure your hands are scrubbed before you do this recipe. We all know how important hand hygiene is, but There is absolutely nothing wrong with using your hands to mix food once your hands are clean. And it's good for children to feel this tactile texture on their hands. It helps with dexterity and it helps the muscles form in their fingers when they get involved with cooking. So it's another good tip as to why you should involve children in cooking.
Sarah, if you leave out your brown sugar and it gets too clumpy, is there a solution to try to soften it again?
You can just use it with your hands. Just break it up. Just break it up with your hands. That's absolutely fine.
Excellent.
So this is nearly it. The heat of your hands will help it come together as well. We're just going to beat this. So this is your daily exercise. We're just going to get the bowl and we're going to just get right in there and beat it. And make sure that the sugars and the butter are fully combined. So you don't want to see the difference between the sugars and you don't want to see lumps of butter. You want to make sure that the color is even throughout.
And if you had an electric mixer, could you do this in an electric mixer as well?
You could, yeah. But I think we could all do with the exercise. Now, so that's the butter and sugar mixed. As you can see, it's quite light in color and everything has been mixed through. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the flour. Now I'm just going to grab a sieve. So you're going to sieve in your flour into the bowl. Don't be too worried if you don't have a sieve. It's not essential, but I like to sieve flour just to get the lumps out, and it adds air as well to the recipe. So this is just going to be, the flour is just going to be folded in to the sugar and the butter, and this will start coming together really quickly.
And so for the flour there, that was 200 grams of the self-rising flour, correct?
200 grams of self-raising flour, yep.
Perfect.
That's it. Now, this looks like a paste when it's fully mixed, and I'm going to show you in just a minute. So if anyone has any questions, keep the questions coming.
We've got a lot of people that says, yeah, they said they're getting hungry. So it looks like those are good things. And two, you can also raise your hand if you want to ask a question with us live here. We do have a question here coming in. So let's see if we can get our friends down at Phase 2 Turismo Education on the line.
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Good, thanks, and you?
Doing all right. Hey, a quick question. Can I possibly add all of the ingredients in at one time, all at the same time, or is it better to do it separately?
I think it's better to do it separately. I have never done it all together. I think the ingredients probably won't combine correctly if you don't have the butter and sugar initially completely mixed together, and the flour. So the grains would, it just probably wouldn't work, to be honest. So I think the steps should be followed.
And you're calling us today from Argentina, correct?
Yes, calling you today from Argentina. We are at 10 o'clock in the morning, bright and early. As soon as this is done, I'm going to go downstairs and try and repeat your recipe. Looking forward to it.
Oh, very good. Beautiful, Argentina.
Thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. We have another question calling in here from Clara. Let's see if Clara can join us today. Clara, can you unmute your microphone? Hi, Clara. Good morning. Can you unmute your microphone?
Yes. Hello.
Here you are, Clara. Hi, how are you? Do you have a question for Sarah today?
Yes, my English is not very excellent. So I would like to ask you, are you going to give us the quantities of the ingredients written?
Yes, we will send out the recipe, including the ingredients list and all of the measurements following today's webinar.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Clara. We look forward to hearing how the recipe turned out.
Thanks, Clara. So I keep going,
Sarah, that looks great.
Now, so this is what it looks like when the flour and the butter and the sugar are in there. So it's a nice color actually. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our oats. So here we are. Just pop these in. So these will take a few minutes to combine.
And Sarah, we don't toast the oats or anything. We just put in the raw oats.
Raw oats, yeah, raw oats. Very nutritious, slow release food.
We have Alessandra who just wrote onto the chat that she says she really admires your strength. She says that she's so lazy when she has to mix the ingredients by hand.
Years of practice.
The other question is, are the oats Quaker oats, like the brand of Quaker oats? Could you substitute those?
You can, yeah, that's fine. As long as they're rolled oats. So oats you would use for porridge oats for the morning's breakfast, you know, breakfast oats.
So any
Is
brand that you would find.
Would you call it oatmeal, Carson?
Yeah, oatmeal would be typical in the United States, and Quaker is the brand. So that seems like would be correct. So that's great. And we have Florence with us today. Let's see if Florence, you can go ahead and unmute your microphone and ask a question.
Can you listen to me?
Yes, hi, Florence.
Yeah, hi to you too. Yeah, I'm not very good at cooking. I have written it on Zoom webinar chat, but if it's possible to have the list as the previous colleague has told you, and is it possible to use microwave oven or a normal oven only? Microwave oven, yeah.
Yeah, can you bake them in the microwave oven? I don't know, Sarah.
No, unfortunately not. You need to have an oven, gas.
Normal oven. Okay. For how many minutes? 20, 1.5 an hour?
Between 10 and 15 minutes.
15. It's not a big amount. Okay, thank you.
So it's
don't forget. Yes, darling. Don't forget the list of the ingredients.
No problem.
Absolutely. We have the full recipes with all of the ingredients and all of the instructions coming your way following the webinar.
So now, as you can see, the oats are combined with the flour, the butter, and the sugar. So next we're going to add in the chocolate chips, and I'm going to set that aside for a minute, and I'm going to chop my nuts. So I have walnuts here. Pecans are really good in this. So what you want to do is you want to roughly chop your walnuts, and if you don't like nuts or you don't have them, you can leave them out.
Sarah, people are commenting that the baking time seems very short, but there's no raw ingredients in here. Like there's no egg, so there's
no egg,
farm.
no dairy, except for the butter.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's why it's so quick, and a real positive about this as well is they keep for a long time. So when they're cool, you can keep them in a container, like an airtight container, for up to a week.
I don't think cookies in my house would last for a week.
I was thinking the same thing. So I made these last week as well, and I brought them into a place where I'm volunteering at the moment, and we had them for our break, and they're really nice. So they thought they were getting a treat, and they were actually getting lots of nutrition. So they go into the bowl as well with the chocolate chips. So in the bowl, I'm just going to give my hands a wipe. Now, so in the bowl we have
yes,
the chocolate chips and the nuts. So we're going to go at this again now. But as Carson said earlier, if you do have a mixer, you can do this in the mixer. I'd recommend doing it by hand. It's more satisfying.
Somebody asked that it would be good for people intolerant to lactose. I think that would be true except for the butter. So just make sure the butter is okay for people with a dairy intolerance. But yeah, there's no milk, there's no egg inside of this recipe.
Yeah. So yeah, if you use lactose-free butter, absolutely fine.
Yes, and Enos has a question. She said that you mentioned walnuts or pecan nuts, but any nuts would be okay too. I'm assuming you could use a peanut or a cashew or something as long as it's
Yep.
chopped up.
Hazelnuts are really nice in this as well. Almonds are really nice. Any nut you want, whatever you have. I wouldn't be going specially to buy nuts if you don't have them, but it just adds to the texture as well and the flavor. My favorite would be hazelnut and pecan, but today I have walnuts. So what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm going to get right in there with my hands again and make sure it's fully combined. And it is going to, piece that out. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have a big lump of oaty chocolate chips. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need a baking tray. So a normal baking tray that you have in the oven, and you're going to put some greaseproof paper or parchment on it. And from this recipe, you'll get at least 20 cookies, and they will be a decent enough size. So the way I measure them is I get a dessert spoon and I scoop off a bit. So that standardizes your actual size of your cookies. So if you do this each time, you can make sure your cookies are an even size. So you get your hands in and you just make a ball from your cookie dough. So there's the first one.
Sarah Benedetta has asked online if barley would be a substitute for oats. She hasn't had oats at home at the moment.
No, barley wouldn't work. Barley has to be boiled to be cooked. I've never tried barley in cookies, to be honest. That would be more for wet dishes, so like soups or for casseroles. So no, I don't think barley would work, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So I'm going ahead here and I'm putting about 6 of these on each tray. If you have a couple of trays that will fit in your oven, that's a good way of doing things as well. So you're just going to keep going like this onto your tray, and you're going to make sure your size is even because you have measured with your spoon. So the more often you make these cookies, the quicker you'll get at them. So here I have the cookies on the tray, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to press down. Just to flatten them and make sure they're evenly spaced on the tray. So this is what they're going to look like on your tray. So they start to resemble cookies already. So you pop them in the oven for 10, maybe 15 minutes. So check them after 10 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. And that is more or less your cookies done. So I prepared some cookies earlier. So this is your cookie when it comes out of the oven. It's nice and golden and it has a lovely crisp texture. And just to use up some chocolate, you understand, I dip them in chocolate. So I just melted some chocolate, milk chocolate, in a bowl in the microwave, and I half dipped them either side and put them back on a tray. So these are the cookies when they're half dipped in chocolate. And you can see,
goodness, that looks so good.
Yeah, they're really nice, I have to say.
Wow.
So these are the chocolate ones, and these are the plain ones.
Yeah. We have another question from Martina. Do you think you might substitute olive oil instead of butter to make the cookies more light?
No, it won't work. Olive oil
to
won't
hold them together.
make them stick together. You won't make a cookie dough from the butter. It's the combination of butter and sugar that make the dough come together, the cookie dough. And to get that snap, for the cookie to snap, that's where the brown sugar comes in. So when you use brown sugar in cookies, that's where you get the snap from.
Wow, excellent. Very good. Lots of people commenting online how good they look. They wish they could taste them themselves. The good news is the recipe is going to be coming your way by email just after the webinar. So you have an opportunity to make this easy recipe right at home, hopefully with ingredients that you can find inside of your pantry right now. Sarah, thank you so much for taking time with us today on the MLA Kitchen episode. We're sending our love and good wishes to all of our friends in Ireland, and
Thank you.
we hope we get back to our school there in Galway real soon. So
Fingers
thanks for taking the
crossed.
time.
Have a nice Easter, everyone, and stay safe, stay at home. Thank you.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on the MLA Kitchen episode. We do MLA webinars every week. We begin on Wednesdays with our free EFL teacher training course, which is open to all of our teachers and all of our providers throughout the world. You can also join us on Thursdays for our MLA Chit Chat Club. The MLA Chit Chat Club is specifically designed for students to be able to talk to other peers and colleagues with interesting topics. We just finished our Chit Chat Club with Luciano Spinelli, a famous MLA social media influencer from Italy. This week coming up, we have the Chit Chat Club with social media coordinators from all over the world that have worked for MLA. They're going to be talking about careers in social media and communications. And then we're going to be right back here next Friday for our third episode of MLA Kitchen. We're going to be going to New York City. And we've got a fabulous recipe coming from one of the MLA family that lives in New York City, a place that's on our hearts and minds at the moment and a place where we all love. So join us next weekend for MLA Kitchen in New York City with another great recipe. Until that time, from all of us here at the MLA family, thank you so much for sharing a part of your day with us. We hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Don't forget today's recipe, Irish oat and chocolate cookies, coming your way just after the webinar. Happy cooking, everybody, and have a great weekend. And happy Easter also to all of our Christian friends out there that are joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's webinar. We look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.